Hi guys, thank you very much for tuning into my second YouTube film review. Today am tackling Fight Club. Why am I doing Fight Club? Well, for a couple of reasons, maybe even three. One, because I think it's a film you should have heard of, seen, or at least know a little about before you die. Sorry, that was depressing. Two, because I need something on my must-see section on my blog. My must-see section on my blog is a page on my blog where once a month I will review a film that isn't necessarily current or in the cinema. It's just a film I think is important and awesome and well made and something I think you should watch. Three, I haven't had an opportunity to go to the cinema this week, so you're getting Fight Club. Okay, so I'm going to try and summarise Fight Club as quick as I possibly can. Okay, so the first character is nameless. He isn't really named throughout the entire thing, which is pretty symbolic of his character, and I'll tell you his character now. He works and lives in what I call the system. Now what I mean by the system is someone that just gets up, eats, goes to a boring office job, consumes something, comes home, eats something, goes to sleep. He's dull, all the colours at the beginning are just drained from any saturation or life. They are just bland greys and blacks and ugh. He's suffering from insomnia, and he has this brilliant monologue at the beginning where he just talks about how when he's awake he's asleep, and when he's asleep he's awake. There's like something of that effect anyway. He also says a quote that I really love, which is, "I was a slave to the IKEA nesting unit," and all his furniture is bought from IKEA. So that's the first character, boring, lifeless, single. Not that I think being single is lifeless. He's just pretty lonely and nothing's really going on. To find some sort of purpose or to have some adrenaline boost of feeling alive, he goes to these support groups with people suffering from terminal illness. Them feeling like they're going to lose their life, somehow he gets a kick out of feeling alive. He's looking for some sort of group, something to latch onto or something that can give him some energy, which is kind of builds up why Fight Club happens. As a kind of subplot, he meets a woman called Marla who begins going to these support groups as well, and he realises she's also a fake. She also doesn't suffer from any terminal illness. This insanely irritates him, and over time he goes to these support groups less. That's when the plot changes. He then meets Tyler Durden. And not only everything the opposite of the main character, he is also kind of a rebellion to the system. For a start, he looks different from the main character. He's more symmetrically and generically good looking, wears Hawaiian shirts, I think, and a red leather jacket, and is just generally more colourful than the main character who's grey and weenie. He does things that aren't necessarily a job. He makes soap, and in his spare time will splice subliminal porn messages into family movies. He also lives in I think in an abandoned flat or warehouse, I have no idea. So they form a relationship, and the main character is kind of intoxicated by Tyler's way of living. He kind of has a YOLO, I've never used that phrase before, you only live once attitude. And they begin to form what's called a fight club. This is where men secretly go underground to fight each other physically. They kind of get a kick of being alive and being out of society's expectations and showing some authority, masculinity for that moment in their life. I think I'm actually going to leave you at that they form a fight club, because I don't want to spoil anything for you, and I feel like after that point, that's when the plot really takes hold and these two contrasting characters get into really interesting scenarios and stuff. Okay, so actors, we have Edward Norton playing the first character, Brad Pitt who plays Tyler Durden. Third actor I can remember is Jared Leto, who kind of plays someone that joins the Fight Club eventually, and I can't even believe that I put this person last. Helen Bonham Carter plays Marla. She is, I think, the only real significant female in this film. Adds a really interesting dynamic. She adds a whole different viewpoint. I don't want to spoil too much. She's insane. The genre of this film is probably something like psychological thriller, drama. It's not really an action per se. If you're watching this thinking, oh, I don't really like the whole fight scene thing, still watch it, because there's actually, even though there is a little bit of fighting in it, it's not fighting made for the viewer's satisfaction. It's made because it's more about why their characters are doing it, the character motives behind it, the dynamics between the characters. Fighting is just a tiny little aspect of why they're doing it. To summarise, it's about masculinity crisis, what men's roles are in today's society, which is, the office job thing and not asserting any authority because there's people above you that have authority, like your dickhead boss, which is, I think, quoted even. There's this whole idea of what it is to actually feel alive now and to actually feel like you're existing. I think it also is about, consumerist mentality, the lack of originality. Is there anything original anymore? Do we actually buy to be happy, or is it this idea that we're given to be happy with transient objects and expiry dates and things that we'll eventually get bored of because they're instant gratification? If you're interested in kind of analysing stuff, or you're a literature student, this is a really good film to just get your fingernails into and look at and discover new stuff. And if you like fight scenes and you just like Brad Pitt topless, it's also got that too. Before I'd watched the film, because I was a big film buff, I was very aware this was a film I had to watch. But I was extremely put off because, I'm gonna be honest, it looked grubby. The colour grading puts me off because it's quite dark and all the contrasting's up and all the saturation even becomes up, and it just felt heavy to watch. I know this is a really bad thing to say, but when I was younger, because I watched this when I was like 8, I felt like it was a really manly film, and I was like, nah, it's not for me. It's not like that. It's actually a film for everyone. The sound is good, music's good, narration is really what dominates this film as far as sound. The narration is in itself a third character. Remember I said that, because the narration is just really dominant and important. It's all from the nameless first character. It really structures the entire thing and sews it all together. So the narration is really important. David Fincher, the director of this film, uses narration seriously effectively. He's not only one of my favourite film directors, he's like the king of psychological thrillers. This film is completely different. It's original. It's not a plot like you've ever watched before, because films now are so predictable and so stereotypical and so boring. This is different. Please go and watch it, purely because it's not like a film you've ever seen before. And if you have seen the film and you enjoy it, then you know what I'm talking about. If you have seen the film and you didn't enjoy it, please comment and talk to me, because I'd really be interested to hear from a person that didn't think the film was good and why. So when you've next got a night free and you're bored, get some popcorn, sit down in front of Netflix, watch Fight Club, because it's really good and you will go away loving it. And please watch it thoroughly. Don't watch it whilst you're texting or you're on Messenger and you're on the phone, you've also got FaceTime up. Watch it, just watch it like a really good film should be watched, because it deserves it. Yeah, so I think it's fantastic. I will put this on my must-see section, and I will be back next week. If you are interested in what review I've written, it is a film that a few people asked me what my thoughts were on, but I never really got around to watching it. So I've watched it now and I've reviewed Moonlight. It is now on my blog. Please check it out. I will leave the links below, and I'll be on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and Instagram. Please keep updated, keep in the loop. I will get better at these each week. Thank you so much for the support last week, if you're one of the guys that liked and all that stuff. Okay, so have a really, really awesome weekend. Guys, have some Easter eggs and enjoy yourself. Watch Fight Club, and I'll see you next week.